Hi, it's nice to meet you here. My name is Andrea Henning, and I'm one of the Tiara partners, one of the global managing partners of Tiara. And you landed on this tool probably because it appealed to you to actually have a tool that can drive your actions, your behaviors towards the outcome that you desire. So it's not an advice from someone else. It's an advice coming from your own wisdom. And we call this tool Wisdom Guidelines. So I'm very happy to meet you here, and I'm very happy to introduce you to this tool that is one of my favorites because it's so practical. And so whenever in the moment you don't know what to do, you can just remember one of your wisdom guidelines. There might be 3 or 4, and you will see, of course, what they are for you after you have done the exercise. But I can really promise you that one of them always gives you a direction in how to, in how to act in the moment. So just I wanna share with you the screen just for a second to show you the tool that you can use. You can also just use pen and paper, but if you have it printed, it can help you. So we will go through the wisdom guidelines, through acknowledging your brightest moments of the past year, darkest moments, and then we will distill the advice that you could give you and you could follow. So this is the tool, but you can also just have your journal or some paper there. Make sure that you don't lose them afterward. That would be a pity, because you will see how how much of a value they can be for you. So let's start. Let's start with just taking a deep breath. Make sure that you can really be present for this exercise. Maybe you have set up a space for you, for yourself, maybe with a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or a glass of wine, depending on which time zone you're in. And if you haven't done that, maybe you could just pause the video and do that. And this is, by the way, something that you can do when you would need some more time to think about one of the questions. You can just pause the video and then restart it. Okay, so I assume that you're ready. So the first question is, looking back at your year, the previous year, what are successes you can share with yourself? What are brightest moments? What is it that you're proud of? What is it that were really delightful moments in your life? So go ahead, and I will pause maybe for 2 minutes. And if you need more, again, you can just stop the recording. But I'll give you 2 minutes to contemplate. And nothing is too small to mention, really, really. And if some people, they love to look into the agenda, because sometimes we just forget what happened the year. So you can do that. You can also just trust your subconscious that comes up with something. So go ahead, take a deep breath, and dig into the good news of last year. And I hope by now you have come some way acknowledging. And dig a little bit deeper. Maybe a small thing. Could be something like having cleaned the attic. Something that you were, that was on your to-do list for quite some time. Could be having bought a new house, the big and the small. Everything's just data waiting to be acknowledged by you. And if you need more time, this would be a good place to mute and take all the time you need to complete this list. Okay, and here you are again, back. So look at this list and try to tap into the feeling of being really proud. And whether we have a fantastic year where this list is pretty long, or we have a year of really hardship, we all know how that looks like. There's always something to be acknowledged. There's always something positive happening. So dig for that and look through the list again and actually feel how it feels to have that. Yeah, and now we just, we switch gears and we will actually go to the downside, like the darkest moments, the moments of disappointment, the moments of disappointment in ourselves, maybe, the moments that we are disappointed in others, the moments that things didn't work out the way that we would wish it had. So all these moments, and it's not about stirring up the pain. This is actually a great exercise to just be honest to yourself and clear the energy for next year, for the year to come, or for the time to come. So take a deep breath. And again, nothing is too big and too small, and allow yourself also the emotions that come with it. So I will mute myself and I will be with you for the next 2 minutes. And if you need more time, you then pause this little video and take all the time you need and just start. Okay. I hope you were able to find some of these too, because there's also a lot of wisdom in there. So if you need more time, this again would be the moment to stop this little video and take all the time you need and then come back. And let me just share my screen one more time with the Tiara tool. So to tell you where we are. So we were contemplating on our brightest moments, then the darkest moments. And then comes the next piece where based on your experience, what advice would I give myself to follow? I will explain that a little bit more. So maybe all of you or some of you have heard of the Circle of Influence of Stephen Covey. And it's in his book, 7 Habits of Effective Leadership, which is a bestseller and a classic. And I would definitely advise everyone to read it. And one of the chapters is about influence. So what does he say about the circle of influence? He says, like, we have a circle, it's a bigger circle, and he calls that the circle of concern. And inside of all the things that we are concerned about all day long, there is a smaller circle, and this is where actually our influence comes from. So there are a couple of interesting things there. First of all, like when we are so distracted by everything that concerns us, we actually lose focus of what we can actually influence. So it's a good thing to focus on what we can actually influence. And then he makes the distinction about 3 possible ways to increase our influence. He talks about direct influence, indirect influence, and how we can influence how to deal with something. So direct influence means that actually an outcome has a direct relationship to what you do. So if you want to run a marathon, it's you who runs, who takes the run and who trains, no one else. So that's direct influence. You can see that. The indirect influence is quite interesting. Also, the indirect influence is about that you have to articulate, for instance, what you need, what you wish for, and then, or giving feedback about something, and then something's there, transparent, and something can happen. If you don't say anything, nothing can happen. So that might be true in a work situation where you want to get a raise, or if you don't if you don't tell your boss, he might or might not be giving it to you. So it's all about feedback. It's all about speaking up, with no guarantee that actually then your needs will be met. But without speaking up, you probably know that nothing will happen. And then the last piece of influence is about whatever happens to us, we are the owners of our reaction to that, our response to that. And there's actually, in my opinion, there's so much power in that. You decide how to respond to a situation. So for instance, something that is really, really hurtful and that keeps you awake at night, but you have no whatsoever influence, nothing you can do about it. Like you can decide like, okay, do I accept that? And can I make peace with that situation? Or or anything else. How do I want to go about that? So these are the things we are looking for when we look into the data and the success factors inside of our brightest moments. So these brightest moments, they had you in it. So you were actually doing something, you were showing up in a certain way, so that these brightest moments could happen. So what were they? Yeah. What were your success factors? What was your influence there? And just to give you a couple of examples, oh, I just showed up, or I found the courage to do that, or I listened to good advice there, or I did something that was just good for me. All these things could be success factors in there. So look at that. Take a moment to look at that. I can share one of my guidelines. Enjoy the moment. Coming from one of my brightest moments, I was actually able to relax enough to just enjoy the moment. So that would be something that could serve me in the future. And again, you can pause this video if you want to think about it a little bit more. And then you can go to your darkest moments, because there's so much great advice there. So you can look at it in a couple of different ways. You can look at it from the standpoint of like, oh, if I've done something differently, would it have been less dark? So for instance, instead of keeping quiet, if I would have spoken up, or instead of spoken up in a reactive way, just keeping quiet and counting to 10 first. So look at what learnings are there from your darkest moments. And that's actually another little piece of beauty in the darkest moments. If you listen to this recording right now, you probably have been passing through it. So what made you pass through it? So how were you able to survive, quote unquote, this darkest moments? And this is actually some piece of advice that you can add to this little box too. So there is a learning. What were you able to draw on that pulled you through? And just take it in. And again, you can pause the video if you need more time. And otherwise, if you're ready, look at all the great advice that you have collected in this little box. Yeah, advice coming from your brightest moments, advice coming from your darkest moments, advice coming from how you pull through these darkest moments, and then really powerfully create wisdom guidelines, not more than 4. Ideally, we do 3 that are really crisp and they capture the complementary wisdom. So sometimes you can combine some wisdom and make them really crisp in the form of an advice, as if you would give yourself this advice. Like, for instance, just show up when you're called to. That would be a very, very powerful wisdom guideline. One of mine that comes from pulling through some hardship is just trust the rightness of things, even if you cannot see it directly. So that's one of mine. It's a little bit long, but it works for me. The thing is that you want to really remember them. So don't make them too complicated, and just start now to craft some of them. I will keep quiet again, give you the chance to craft them. One, two, 3, or 4 max. Complementary. So when you see some overlap, you can combine, but don't make them too complicated. And again, you might want to pause this video and then come back, because now look at them and really be present to the fact that they don't come from someone else. You haven't read them in a book as a good idea to follow. It comes from your earned wisdom, like the life experience, the life that you have been living through. These are the golden nuggets. And so just pause for a moment and look at your wisdom guidelines and look at how every one of them, every one of these wisdom guidelines, if you follow them diligently, what would be the impact on your life if you remember these and follow and let them have drive your actions as an intention on a daily basis, and feel that. Feel the impact. And maybe just, and this is something you can use another tool for to create some goals, but just presence a couple of things that you would love to have occurred next year and write them down. Just a little bonus. What do you wish for next year? Just very high level. Just tap into your wanting. And then look at your wisdom guidelines. Look how they are supporting you in getting there. And maybe even one or two that you can already feel like, oh, they are really crucial. They are really important. Okay, so now we are coming to the end of this, this little workshop. And of course, now everything stands with your commitment to actually following your own wisdom. So a good thing is to have them visible. So I have them, for instance, in my phone. So every day I am reminded. And believe it or not, when I'm driving in my car and I'm thinking about something and I can only remember 3 of my 4 wisdom guidelines. I think, what was the 4th one? And it still happens. I mean, even if they're around with me for quite some time. Actually, the one that I cannot remember is the one that I need most. So you can play with them. So keep them front and center. Some people even put them on their mirror when they, so to be reminded when they brush their teeth. So be creative with that. So that the work that you have done with me for this last maybe half an hour, I don't know how long we have been on this, is not for nothing. And then share with us how it works for you. So there's a possibility to share, to give some comments on that underneath this this inquiry. And you can also go to our website, to the Resource Circle membership website, and you can even use the button Ask Your Coach if you have a question about that. So to be engaged with us in that. So what rests me to do here is thank you for taking the time to do this inquiry. And I hope I see you in another inquiry, because we have lots of them, all geared to, to having you be the leader of your life and living a life, not only surviving. So thanks a lot and see you soon. Bye.